Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Mike and this is For the Record. We are going to be talking about the Dixie Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. They have renamed their group the Chicks. We'll talk about that later. I'm just going to do this in one shot. I've tried this a few times, but we're going to do this. I don't edit my videos, so we're just gonna get that off my shoulder. And just say that one shot, this is it. Gotta stay hydrated, it's hot today. Cheers, everyone. So, it's been 14 years, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 14 years since the Dixie Chicks album, the last album. It's been 14 years. So, Gaslighter, what are my feelings? What do I have to, do I recommend it? Whatever, we're also going to talk about the name change, the Chicks. But first, I did want to get a few things off my shoulders and talk about what my preconceived thoughts were with the album even before it was released. They had released songs here and there, a few songs before the actual album was released. So I did listen to a few. I don't recall if I listened to all of them. I don't think I did, but I listened to a few, and even that, listening to those songs, that aside, my preconceived ideas on the album were, we all think of what we think an album is going to be before it's released. It's nothing new, but my preconceived thoughts on Gaslighter, okay? Well, basically Gaslighter, and this is Natalie Maines saying this, Gaslighter was fueled by her divorce, her nasty divorce. So with that said, I felt that it was going to be difficult to listen to. I thought it was going to be maybe negative in a way, like a negative, not like good vibes. But so I had all those thoughts. Not mixed emotions about it, just really I'm like, oh geez, it's being released at a really difficult time right now with the music in the music industry. That's why the release was delayed. But just everything that's going on in the world right now, and the album being fueled by Natalie's divorce. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was gonna like it. I didn't feel like I just didn't feel like I was going to enjoy it, and my listening to it for the first time, I was absolutely disgusted. I was. I've been a Dixie Chicks fan. I'm proud to say it. I've been a Dixie Chicks fan for years. Even when Natalie Maines had made that comment at a concert, how she wished, she was ashamed that George Bush was from Texas, and all of a sudden they were fucking dropped from the airways. Disappeared. I listened to them. I've always been a fan, and I'm not going to talk about their whole discography. I have a bunch of stuff. I have some of their stuff before Natalie Maines joined. I just like the group. What can I say? So, Gaslighter. I listened to it. My first thoughts were, when I first listened to it, the first, second, third time, I was absolutely disgusted with it. You could tell it was almost like she was reading from a diary, And I had somebody. I made a comment on Facebook about it, and I was fed to the wolves. I was, and I don't take anything back that they say. It's my thoughts, they're my feelings, so I don't take it back. But it was, trying to find the words. I was ridiculed, and one person said, well, then don't listen to it. And it's like, but that's beyond the point. Like, I was like, I love music, I listen to music, I review albums, I got a massive record collection, I collect, CDs, not as much, but I'm a music lover. What can I say? I buy music sometimes before I listen to it. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. That's just part of the chase, that's part of the collecting. But I just didn't like it. It was negative. It was, and by all means, Natalie Maines has every right to be upset. That was another thing I mentioned on Facebook. I said, you know, she's got every right to be jaded. She has every right, and I felt like that's what the album was. I felt like it was her. I felt like it was her being jaded, and it was almost like a diary. And I just didn't like it. I was like, I also have the CD. I actually, coincidentally, ended up with 2 copies. Okay, ended up with 2 copies. I also got the CD. I ordered one. They sent me 2. They didn't want it back, so I have 2 copies. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the second copy yet. So I listened to it. I listened to it in my music room here. I listened to it in my car, in the CD player. Stay thirsty, my friends. I listened to it in my car on the way to work. I listened to it constantly. I listened to it a lot. I wanted to like it. I'm probably the most unbiased opinion right now because I'm a big fan. I'm trying to be unbiased. But I felt once I listened to it for a while, after a bit, it started growing on me. I got past. I think what my preconceived thoughts were part of because of the whole thing Natalie Maines had said that it was fueled by her divorce. That may have had her. That statement may have had made me make my decision before and then as I listened to it. So I had to get past that. And all the songs except one are, from what I can tell, are from her divorce. There's only one song, but anyway. So I got past that, and it's a good album. Okay, I just listened to it today. It's a good album. I love the vinyl better than the CD, of course, because it sounds much better. But anyway, I got past that. It was fueled by her divorce. I got past the fact that all the songs but one are basically about her breakup. I got past all that. I'm pretty much past it. I listened to it. Like I said, I do like it. I think it's a decent album. It was produced by Jack Antonoff, and it was well done. The songs are well arranged. It's funny because it starts with Gaslighter, which is the single. I'm not sure if there's another single, but I know Gaslighter. And then it's like the story. It starts with Gaslighter, and it goes on with Sleep at Night, Texas Man, Everybody Loves You, For Her, March March. March March is the one song that doesn't really go along with the rest of the album, and I'll explain that in a minute. My Best Friend's Weddings, Tights on My Boat, Juliana Calm Down, Young Man, Hope It's Something Good, and Set Me Free. So I say that because it starts with Gaslighter. The whole story goes in order, okay, and then it ends with Set Me Free, like Set Me Free. So there's a little, it's like a story, and then the end of it is it set me free, and that's basically, So it grew on me, and I ended up liking the album. Another thing I didn't like was they threw in March March. Now, there's no way that the March March has to do with the Black Lives Matter movement and all that stuff. Now, didn't really think it fit because all the other songs are about one thing, and this is completely different, which maybe it's a good break from the rest of the songs, but I just didn't feel March March fit on this album. Maybe it was where it was placed, right at the end of side 1. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I just felt like that song, I think they put it in there because of the Black Lives movement and what was going on in the world right now, and I think they just put it in there to sort of just kind of go with what's going on in the world at this time. Whatever. I don't like the song. That's my opinion. Don't crucify me for it. I just don't like the song. The video is, anyway. But the album, in the end, if you're a Dixie Chicks fan, I guess I should be saying the Chicks, but if you're a Dixie Chicks fan, it's not really like any one of their other albums. It just doesn't sound like any one of their other albums. I did like one thing I did like about the album is it's not my favorite Dixie Chicks album, but it is my favorite as far as Natalie Maines singing. I have all their other stuff, and Natalie Maines on this album really shows her range in singing. I mean, it's the songs aside, whatever she's saying, just listen to her singing is probably maybe the first Dixie Chicks album with Natalie Maines might be a little better, but that's quite country, and this is not country at all. So as far as like range and voice, this album is great in that aspect, because you really hear Natalie Maines' range in her singing. I mean, I knew she is an unbelievable singer. I knew that before listening to this, but when you listen to this, you can really hear her range in singing, because she sings in this unlike on any other album she's done, including her solo album. It's remarkable. It really is. The album itself, I mean, in my opinion, it's not a bad album. I don't know, like I said before, I don't know if it has anything to do with her saying that the album was fueled by her divorce, but I had a hard time liking it. I had to listen to it for a bit to like it. I don't know if that's why, but in the end, I do like it. And do I recommend it? If you're a Dixie Chicks fan, if you're not a Dixie Chicks fan, you're probably not going to like it anyway. But as a fan, I respect it, and as a fan, I recommend it. And only, and I didn't think about this before filming. Okay, on a scale 1 to 5, 1 being the least, and 5 being the best. It all depends. I have a hard time putting a number on this, or a star on this. It took me a bit to like it. I'd probably give it a 3 or a 4, maybe. Again, not a great album, but in time I might like it more. Do I recommend it? I do. I do recommend this album. I have to recommend it. I would just shop around, because you can get it from between 25 and 35, and there are even some people asking for more. But I would just shop around. I would, just to I try to get my best or the best price. I always go between Amazon and eBay. Now, when you go to Amazon, if you go to their website, it's hooked direct. When you go to buy it on their website, when I ordered it, I don't know how it is now, but I'm sure it's the same. When I ordered it, it went to Amazon. So when you buy on Amazon, and if you're buying it on Amazon and it's linked to their account, it's directly from the Dixie Chicks, or directly from the Chicks, depending on who you buy it from. The best thing is to go on to thechicks.com and then order through there, and then it'll have the link to Amazon. So I mean, it took a bit for me to get used to it. It took me a bit to like it, but in the end, I think it's a decent album. It's not the best album. Their last album wasn't even their best album. But anyway, the Dixie Chicks, the Chicks, Gaslighter. Now, what I'm wondering is, are they going to eventually fix the name, the Dixie Chicks, and is it going to just eventually say the Chicks? I was on the fence. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I was really happy to see the copies that were originally released. They didn't just pull them off the shelf and make new covers. They are actually selling that as Dixie Chicks. I would like to say, through Amazon, I had a little side note. If you're still watching, type Warped Record in the comments. I ordered this 3 times on vinyl, 3 times, and every single one of them was warped, every time. This one isn't nearly as bad. There's a minor, like a minor little, you know, it's barely noticeable. They play fine, barely noticeable bump. I kept the one that was that was the best out of all of them. I honestly forgot how many times I returned it, 3 or 4 times. But all of them came to me warped. Now I don't know if it's happening in storage. I don't know if it's happening in manufacturing, but be warned. First thing you want to check to see if it is warped. That was my biggest complaint. Everything else aside, my biggest complaint was every copy I got is warped. You may get one that isn't as bad as another, but just be warned. They are probably, all of them are probably warped. But I kept this one over here. The second one I told you I had gotten. It is what it is. It's got a little warp in it, but I couldn't tell you how many times I returned it, but it plays fine. So I think I covered all. I think I covered everything. This is the track listing. You know, I do also want to say what I noticed with a few of the songs. A few of the songs were similar. Knowing that I probably wouldn't have noticed. Maybe I would have. I probably wouldn't have noticed if I didn't know she did this in the middle of her divorce. But a few of the songs are similar. A few of the songs are very similar. And I'll tell you why. Because put that over there. Because a few of the songs are similar because like there were 2 songs, completely separate songs. One of the songs is called "Tights on My Boat," where she sings about she finds somebody's tights on her boats and they're not hers. And another song, and they mentioned, I believe that song, she mentions a 20-year relationship, and then in another song, she mentions again in a completely separate song, she mentions the same 20-year relationship in a completely different song. So there's similarities with that. Also, what else was there? That you can hear similarities with the songs where, you know, you met this girl or you found her and she loves you and blah 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 blah. And there's a few similarities you're going to notice. Not a few. There's a couple. I only noticed a couple. Linking some of the songs together. But that's it. That's really it. I hope that you're not a hater and you give the album a chance. You know, give it a chance. That's what I got to say. Give it a chance. But I recommend it if you're a fan. If you're not, take a chance. The Dixie Chicks, Gaslighter. And as always, stay thirsty, my friends. And be kind to others. Peace.